where Black Lives Matters and Libertarian Party can help each other and benefit from each other, I believe, is in police reform. Black Lives Matter is a movement that I think the Libertarian Party needs to be very careful in dealing with. Their leadership is pretty much socialist. It's just what they are. But just as in World War II, where the United States joined forces with the Soviet Union, the enemy of my enemy can be my friend. And I think in this case, we can have common grounds about doing police reform. Possibly where the two groups can get together and work together to bring about reform, especially in those states that allow citizen-initiated statewide referendums. What I'm advocating is the idea that answers the age-old question, who watches the watchman? Or how we would phrase it today is, who polices the police? Right now, who polices the police is the police. The police department that is under investigation is the one that is doing the investigation. That's stupid, that's moronic, but that's what happens here in America. Now those police departments investigating themselves, they have, if they're a large enough police agency, they have a department called Internal Affairs. Right there kind of tells you it is so easy to be abused, so easy to sweep problems under the rug. And they have. Instead of prosecuting cops, they force them to retire. They have them resign. It is rare that a police department actually goes after and throws cops into jails. The police forces have an attitude that is them against the rest of the world. And by the rest of the world, meaning us citizens. The joke in police departments is on the back of every badge that says justice, there's two words, just us. They have a lot of times a bunker mentality. And it's understandable in a way. If you always deal with criminals and people who are acting badly, let's just say that, you start viewing everyone as possible bad characters. You start looking for alternative motives in what everyone does. And you start isolating yourself from the public. It is common that there are bars that are just cop bars. Usually very close to the police station is where these are located. And that's where the cops hang out. So they're cops talking only to other cops. And that's kind of a bunker mentality that is very damaging to society. Cops need to get out. They need to interact with the public. They need to know that the public is not always going to be turning around and trying to rob someone. I'm not blaming the cops for having this attitude. It is one of the hazards of being a cop. For example, an analogy. The two highest professions for suicide is dentists and psychologists, psychotherapists. As a rather morbid joke goes, one inflicts pain, the other one hears it. And when you talk to psychologists, they start having this, everyone has a psychological problem, perspective on everything. That's kind of what happens with cops. They're not being called to the birthday parties. They're not being called to the celebrations. They're not there for the happy moments in life. They're there when problems happen. And they're there to come and solve those problems. Like firefighters, when they run the opposite direction when everyone else runs away. I think what they do is admirable, But when you only deal with criminals, you kind of start thinking like criminals. There's a line that is very easy for them to cross. And that's where a lot of problems come in, is when they do cross that line. Maybe meaning for the best intentions, but other times it could just be burnout. Here they see this drug dealer, and he's driving around a Lamborghini. He's making tons of money, and here's this cop barely able to pay the bills. Yeah, if you turn a blind eye, that drug dealer might slip you $50,000. Or probably like $5,000, but you know what I mean. But the problem is with cops investigating cops is, again, you have the just us mentality. We protect our own. Talk to cops when they're honest with you. Cops don't narc on cops. They view their job as hard enough without them doing infighting, without stabbing each other in the back. Internal affairs is not liked by any cop department. Is required in a lot of police departments for you to rise in the upper echelons of the police administration, that you have to do a tour of duty through the internal affairs. Makes complete sense. How can you be part of the top echelon of a police department and not have a thorough understanding of the problems that come along with being cops? But again, it's called internal affairs. They're investigating themselves. It is common for them to force cops into retirement. Trying to do as big of the lightest slap in the hand as they can do against bad cops. They close ranks around each other. Cops don't report on cops, and the cops that do are ostracized in their police department. It's just the way it is. And that happens because they have a bunker mentality. I believe the solution to this is by having the state police in every U.S. state be relinquished of all their other law enforcement duties and only investigate local police and sheriff departments. They no longer do law enforcement functions. Maybe in the state's capital, but that's it. And I'm talking about the Capitol building where the legislature is held. But even there, you can have Capitol Police. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. There is literally a police department that's just for the Capitol building. And so you don't need even state police there. But if you want to have the public regain trust in the police, they have to feel that the police are being really investigated, sincerely investigated. No whitewashing, no letting off bad characters off with light or no punishment. Why the state police would have to be restricted to just this function is because if they also then did general policing duties, local police departments and sheriff departments will shun them, just as they shun cops who narc on other cops. The state police should be viewed as the people who police local police and sheriff's departments. They can't then do local law enforcement, and they don't need to. There is no place in a state that is not covered by either a local police department and or a sheriff's department. Sheriff's departments cover everything. It doesn't matter if you have a local police department. The sheriff's that's still within the county, and the sheriff's department can still arrest anyone in those counties. We don't need a state police going around giving traffic tickets. The sheriff's departments have full coverage of any state. There's not a part of a state that is not part of one county or another. Or one county. They don't share territory. But if we were to have the state police just investigate local police and sheriff's departments, we can start rebuilding the public's trust in the police. There should be like an 800 number where citizens can report bad local police and bad sheriff's departments. And then this state police begins an investigation. They go after the bad cops, and then cops realize that their brothers in arms will no longer protect them if they step across the line. That there are police, that there's the state police that have authority over all the local police, all the county sheriff's departments, and they will come after them. This, I believe, is a really good way to help restore faith into the local and county sheriff's departments. Go after the bad cops, get the bad cops. It's just the way it should be done. And I think this is where, if the Libertarian Party were to pioneer this idea, spearhead this idea, they might be able to get members of the Black Lives Matter to join forces in this limited function. And I would even, when approaching them, talk about just limited, we're focused on this. As long as we're working on this, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This does not mean Libertarian Party endorses every other aspect of the Black Lives Movement. Again, I think all, or not, at least the vast majority of Black Lives Matters leadership are socialists and are advocating socialism. So we got to be very careful when we deal with them. But again, just as we did in World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union can join forces for a common enemy. This case here is the people's lack of trust in the police departments, and having the state police taking away the internal affairs, and instead having state police police the police is, I think, the solution to this problem. Now, in the same breath, I think the state police should have their own prison, separate from the regular prison population, and that's where they send the bad cops when they're convicted. I would be all in favor of states pooling their resources so there'd be a bad cops, convicted cops prison that might 4 or 5 states. That's where they send their bad cops to. Or I don't know how many there would be. Maybe it would be, if there's not that many, maybe one could even be run by, say, the Justice Department. And that's where all the bad cops go. Because if you send a cop, convicted cop, to prison, is a death sentence. They will be killed in prison. They don't care that he is a bad cop. He's a cop. And I don't think that sending a cop to prison, which is a common argument why they say you can't send him to prison, is as a death sentence. Well, in this case, if you had a prison that's just made up of all the inmates are just bad cops, that shouldn't happen. I mean, the only case that might happen is if you get a bad state police officer sent there. And that you might have to deal in a special case. But if the state police are just policing the police, well, yeah, they can cause problems too. The local police could give the state police a kickback from the drug dealer, the kickback that the drug dealer gave them, for the state police to look the other way. But at least we have a layer. I think it's better than the current system where the individual police departments are essentially policing themselves. And that's just ridiculous. Now, if you're a subscriber to this channel, please post this video on out to your Facebook page. Please tweet it on out. Please send it to, if you know of a police officer or someone in law enforcement, send this video to them. If you know someone in the Black Lives Matters movement, email them this video. Let's spread out this word. Let's get possible movement on it. If you're part of the Libertarian Party, let the National Libertarian Party know that this is something that, if you agree with me, they should be working on, to reach out to the Black Lives Movement to see if there can be this common ground that we can do on. Now, if you're a first-time viewer, please subscribe. In the last 20 seconds of this video, you're going to see an end screen, and you're going to see my picture in a circle. Please click on it and subscribe to my channel. Also, I have a mailing list, and when that mailing list gets to 100 subscribers, I'm going to start producing a weekly unlisted video where we reply to selected comments posted last week's batch of public videos. If you'd like to see these future reply to comment videos, in the description below is a link to a mailing list sign up form. Please subscribe. Alright, I think this is something that we can make society better with, and it's something we should explore. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.